Hey guys, it's Rob. 368 days until I turn 30, and I told you the weight would bounce back. See, it's not going to be such a big deal. I'll show you that in the check-in. Um, Bounce back down 2.8 pounds. Like I said, sometimes when you have these odd eating habits, like I did on vacation, you end up kind of rubber banding a little bit. You just kind of fly back and forth. So I dropped back under 232 pretty quickly, and I would not be surprised if next update I'm coming to you from back under 230. I bet it can be done. Um, it helps that now that the summer's here, the exercise room is like a sauna, so you lose water weight like crazy in there. And there's nothing new written down here, though the process continues of getting my head wrapped around what I need to do to the long form, the book, the novel. Um, and yeah, um, there's there's consistency. A lot of it is consistency things. Um, Getting and keeping a tone uh, that is cohesive all the way throughout. Getting and keeping cohesive setting all the way throughout. I've noticed some comments related to that. Um, and again, that's because really the story was something I was really developing a lot of my writing skill and writing identity as I wrote it. So it does definitely need to be all kind of brought up to the same level all around. Um, the short story the is getting really good positive feedback from beta reading. People are loving that thing, and I'm loving it. So I'm glad we're all in agreement. Um, that may get fast tracked when the next stage of beta reads is done and all that feedback returns to me. Um, But I said today I was going to talk about kind of the halfway point. It's not exactly the halfway point. The halfway point is going to be a little after like late June ish, because I started this not quite 2 full years in the making. But let's take a look at it. The weight loss is at about 45% to 50% of target, which is kind of a bummer because I rocketed so far ahead there at the beginning. But I also need to remember um, there's you're bound to lose the weight more quickly when you start than when you finish. It's the hardest pounds to lose are going to be those last few. Um, but the question is going to be, can I really hit 180? Is 180 feasible? That was the target weight when I started, when I proposed this whole thing. Um, and I don't know. I'm certainly going to try to keep pushing it down. I think anything below 200 would be phenomenal. Um, but uh, the important part right now is that I've already probably added years to my life just getting rid of that 40 pounds. For the more than 40 that I've already gotten rid of. Um, no, it's actually about 40 even, isn't it? Because of the bouncing around. Um, on the writing, looking back and looking at where I am, um, and giving an honest review of where I am not where I need to be to reach that 250,000 published words goal. I am at roughly 86,000 or so unpublished words, and I suspected I would be much further along by this time. So it's not fun to have to look at the honest to goodness facts and realize where I am. I know there's a rough balance between perfectionism and getting a product on the shelf, so to speak. That I know the novel isn't ready yet. Even if I were to just take it as it was right now today, send it through the professional copy edit that I'm going to do for spelling, grammar, sentence structure, all that kind of stuff, just the polish without changing any of the content of the narrative, I would not be satisfied with it, and I suspect it would get poor reviews because it's just not ready yet. Um, the short story is much better. the 20,000 word short story. And it's because I had a good roadmap and I had more writing talent and writing ability at that point. And it's much closer to ready for prime time. The goals that I set out when I began this project, all the way back in episode 1, were absolutely ambitious. They were. I mean, it's to I took writing courses in college, but I was by no means a writing major. And I had written and worked out ideas before for stories, and I've always had really good English skills just in general. But it is a whole different thing um, to write 60,000, 80,000 words, what have you. I mean, the common adult novel lengths are close to 120,000 words, I think, at least in fantasy. Um, it's a whole different thing to do that than to write 2,000 words for a class with a deadline where you're going to get graded poorly if you don't turn in on time. Um, than it is to write these huge pieces where you've got just such a volume of text that you need to make sure is all agreeing with itself all the way through, not leaving plot holes, um, not having things fail to make sense. So it was ambitious. I don't know if I'll cross that finish line and get the word count that I set out to do by the end. But I'm going to keep. I mean, I'm going to keep going. It is certainly possible. I may need to change the number and length of individual items that I put out because I found that short story length much more comfortable and much more approachable than the novel length stuff. Um, so I should probably make a decision on that in relatively short order as to whether I'm going to change around, um, that kind of stuff in the interest of surging forward and being able to get more published product out there. But yeah, so no, not everything is the greatest. Not everything is on schedule. Um, but I'm really proud that I've tried this far and that I've that I've gotten as far as I have. Um, there's you know I set out a goal when I started this thing, and when you do that very publicly, there's risk that you won't achieve what you set out to do. Um, but having that goal has gotten me further along and made me do more interesting and exciting things than I ever would have had I not proposed the goal and the mission that I did. Um, in this past year, I have made really interesting and valuable and treasured connections with people. With Jason and the Dungeons and Randomness podcast, that's really at least getting my voice in front of a lot of people, that people will know who I am when the time comes to put that book out. And more, even as importantly, is that those are fantasy fans. Those are people who are interested in fantasy content, for a fantasy and sci-fi writer, like I've done thus far. Um, the Twitch TV channel has been an exciting experiment, and it really lets me connect with people on a very personal level with that instant feedback. Um, I've had people say to me, "Hey, you seem like an adult who's not a crazy person. I'm 15, 16, 17, whatever. If I wanted to ask you questions about what it's like to be an adult, could I do that?" And that's been really moving. That's been very powerful. Um, Many things of value have come out of this time so far, and there's a year of it or so left. My birthday is coming up on Sunday, so we're getting close here to that. Um, there's another year of this trying to figure this out and trying to build a career entry out of what I've been doing. Um, suffice to say, there's been some back steps and some missteps, but ultimately, I still get up in the morning excited every morning, and I try not to take for granted the degree to which having the resources behind me to let me try this kind of stuff is something I treasure and really I'm very thankful for. I know I've said it before here, but I see it as my duty if I manage to make this into something professional, to find some way to give back, to give a step up to people who might also want to enter creative careers and feel too intimidated to do that kind of thing, to offer opportunities in that if I actually make it to a professional career level with this stuff. So that's the last year recap. This probably went long. I have my monitors off to reduce glare. I hope you stick around for the second half of this adventure, of this transformation, of this attempt to make something of myself. That's enough out of me. Like I said, this episode probably ran really long, got kind of rambly, but it's the halfway point. It deserves a big episode, I think. Have a great weekend this weekend. I will have fun on my birthday on Sunday. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. It'll be neat. And when I see you again, I'll be 29. So see you then on Monday. Take care.